I'm building a page out with gelatos today and just using lots of different techniques to get pigment onto paper. And I'm also going to be using a little bit of washi tape. So we've got some collage going on a bit later, some pen work, and all this pigment work with the gelatos. So these are really easy techniques, and all I'm really doing is using lots of water to get the pigment from the crayon straight onto the paper. So rather than scribble out the gelatos first onto something else or even onto the page, I'm just going to use the brush directly on the gelato stick itself. And I'm just loading them up with lots and lots of water and using dripping and splashing and splattering to get that colour onto the surface. I mean, it's a really super messy technique, but it's really fun to do. So as always, everything that I've used is listed in the description, so just click on the show more button, or if you're on mobile, it's the little triangle that's near to the title. And you'll also find the paper that I've used there. This is a watercolour paper that I'm using today, but it's a lightweight watercolour paper, so it's really only for experimenting with. It's not for doing pieces that perhaps you'll want to sell on or anything like that. So it is going to buckle quite a lot, but you know what? I'm not particularly bothered with this at all. And you can see I haven't taped it down to a board or treated it in any way at all. I'm just using it as it is. So if you're looking for some more inspiration on how to use your gelatos, I do have some other videos as well, so I'll link those up at the end and you'll find those also in the description too. Once I'd got my colours down, I just let this piece dry naturally, and of course you can use a heat tool if you want, but I had a little bit of time, so I put it to one side and let it dry. I had used lots of water, so it did take a little bit of time to dry. And once it was, then I went in with some pen work. Now the pen I'm using for this is one that will work on a slick surface because that washi tape is non-absorbent. So anything that you put on there is going to rub off quite easily. So you do need something that you can write on non-absorbent surfaces with. And this pen just works quite well. So I have no particular plan for this one, how I want it to turn out. It is just really having a bit of a play. But it does kind of need a focal point. So for my focal point, I was toying with the idea of using some stamps and maybe the butterfly from the Finnabair set, which is really pretty and would work really nicely with the butterflies that are already on this page from the washi tape. But in the end, I decided to go with one of my own images from my Etsy shop, because I'd had so much fun playing with one of my digital images from the download that I made recently for my patrons over on Patreon, that I thought, well, you know, I should perhaps have a play with one of my flowers. And this one I coloured it digitally and then just printed it out and cut it out ready for this piece. Once I had my focal image in place and I realised that I did need a little bit more pen work on there just to make it more noticeable, so I just added a few circles and then coloured them in with some more of the gelatos. So this time what I'm doing is I'm using a brush to pick the colour straight off the stick onto the paper. And it takes a few layers to build up the colour when you're doing it this way. And I picked a colour that would match that printed flower. And this one's the dahlia that's over in my shop, and it comes with these leaves. And I quite like how full these ones are. They're quite pretty flowers, aren't they? But they kind of get underused quite a lot. I mean, we all love peonies, don't we? But I quite like these dahlias as well. But I can't really say that I know much about flowers. I only realised these were dahlias when I had to look up what these flowers were. I'd taken pictures of them when I was out and about, and then I drew them out, but I didn't actually know what they were, so it took a little bit of hunting down to find out what kind of flower it was. If you enjoyed this video and the inspiration for building this page today, then please do like the video and share it with your friends, as well as become one of my subscribers too. That would be wonderful, thank you. If If you're interested in seeing more of these kind of flowers, then I do have some over in my Etsy shop. And of course there's a new download that you can grab on my Patreon as well, where I'm sharing a lot more on mixed media, and I've got some tutorials over there, so come and join me there too. I'll be back with some more art inspiration in a few days' time, so have a great creative few days until then.